Today, we're going to dig into the quiet, often overlooked habits that psychology tells us are linked to high intelligence. We're going to go way beyond the stereotypes to see how a truly brilliant mind actually works.
I mean, this quote just turns everything we think we know upside down, right? It's basically saying that the person who seems the most impressive in the room might not be the smartest. Real intelligence, it seems, doesn't need the spotlight. It's often quiet, it's observant, and it's working on a much, much deeper level.
So, before we can get to the real signals, we got to peel back the layers on the illusion. In this first part of our explainer, we're going to break down all those common behaviors people use to look intelligent, behaviors that, more often than not, are really just signs of insecurity.
Yeah, really think about it for a second. When you see a genius character in a movie, what are they doing? They're probably talking a mile a minute, using all this jargon nobody understands, and just demolishing every single argument. We've been taught to connect intelligence with a certain kind of performance. But is that what's really going on under the hood?
This right here, this is basically the fake smart playbook. Psychology tells us that over-explaining is often a classic move to cover up that you're not 100% sure what you're talking about. Arguing just to win, that's all about ego, not about getting to the truth. And using fancy words, well, that's often just a way to hide a lack of deep understanding. All of these are defense mechanisms. They're about looking smart, not actually being smart.
And this is the huge pivot point. The performance of intelligence is loud and flashy, but the reality, it's often quiet and subtle. So let's dive into what's really going on inside a highly intelligent mind.
Okay, so if that other stuff is the illusion, what's the reality? This is where we get into the really interesting, kind of counterintuitive habits of genuinely smart people. The things they do that might not look impressive at all, but actually reveal an incredible amount of cognitive power.
Now, this first one is a big one. It's a psychological concept called cognitive inhibition. And it's not about ignoring your feelings. It's about creating a little bit of space between a feeling and your action. It's that mental pause button that lets the thinking part of your brain step in and say, hang on a second, before the reactive part takes over. It's the foundation for almost every other smart habit.
And that cognitive inhibition, in the real world, it just looks like a pause. You know when you ask someone a really tough question and there's that moment of silence? That's not them being slow or confused. That's their brain doing some serious work. It's running simulations, checking for biases, considering different perspectives, all to find the most precise, accurate answer possible before they even open their mouth. And this next one, intellectual humility, goes hand in hand with that pause. It's not about thinking you're dumb, it's just about having a realistic understanding of how much you don't know. It's the one thing that keeps your mind open, curious, and always ready to learn something new.
See, someone with intellectual humility isn't trying to prove how much they know, they're trying to improve their understanding. So they'll ask simple questions like, wait, what exactly do you mean by that? Their goal isn't to look smart, it's to actually get on the same page and find the clearest picture of reality. This lays it out so clearly. It's a battle between the ego and accuracy. The insecure person is terrified of looking stupid, so they'll fake it. Their priority is protecting their image. But the truly intelligent person, their priority is being correct. And they know that saying, I don't know, isn't a failure. It's the first step to actually finding out. It protects the truth.
And the last piece of this puzzle is what's called cognitive flexibility. This is a huge one. It's the ability to change your mind. It's about treating your opinions not as part of your identity, but as hypotheses that can be updated or even thrown out completely when better evidence comes along.
For a person like this, being wrong isn't a threat. It's actually an opportunity. It's a chance to learn something and get closer to the truth. They don't dig in their heels and defend a bad idea just because it was their idea. They simply adjust. Their goal isn't to win the argument. It's to leave the argument with the best possible understanding.
Okay, so all of this sounds pretty great, right? Well, it's not always a walk in the park. Being highly intelligent isn't just a list of advantages. That mental processing power can come with its own set of very real and often hidden psychological burdens. I mean, just imagine, your brain never ever shuts off. It's constantly analyzing, questioning, connecting. That leads to serious mental exhaustion. And when your mind moves that fast, you get bored, painfully bored with things like small talk or repetitive jobs. You can feel totally isolated, even in a crowd, because you're just not operating on the same frequency as everyone else. And because your thoughts are so layered, you often feel like nobody really gets you. On top of all that, that same self-awareness that helps you learn also means you are your own harshest critic. It can be absolutely brutal.
So what we're seeing is that intelligence is this incredibly complex thing, with real upsides and real downsides.
It's a fundamentally different way of experiencing the world. But that leads us to the biggest question of all, right? Are we just stuck with the brain we have, or can we actually train it to be sharper?
And here is the really cool part. According to a whole lot of research, the answer is a big, resounding yes. While your genes definitely play a part, your cognitive abilities are not set in stone. So in this final section, we're going to look at some practical, science-backed habits that can actually boost your cognitive performance.
What's so great about these is how they all tie back to what we've been talking about. Reading challenging stuff? That's a workout for your brain's focus and connection-making muscles. Asking yourself, what if I'm wrong? Well, that's just practicing intellectual humility. Trying to explain something simply is the ultimate test of whether you truly get it. And delaying gratification? That's training your brain's self-control and planning systems. These aren't just little life hacks. They are fundamental ways to rewire the way you think.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe most important idea of all. Intelligence isn't some score you get on a test that you can be proud of. It's a tool. It's not a thing you have, it's a thing you do. So the real goal isn't about proving how smart you are, it's about becoming a better, clearer, more effective thinker every single day. The potential is already in there. The only real question is, what are you doing with it?